All right, Luwana. Luwana, where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up?
Los Angeles, California.
What part? South Central?
Compton.
Compton?
Yes.
Tell me about your family growing up.
My family originally from California. I'm not sure where my mother's side of the family's from, but come from a large family. My mother was the youngest out of 4 boys, I believe, and her mother died when she was 12, so she basically was on her own since she was 12, and she had me by the time she was 15. She had my older sister at 14, and at I think 17 she had my first brother. By the time she was 21, she had my last brother and stuff. So by the time she was 22, she had 4 kids and a single mother. She was also on barbiturates at the time. I was told that I was born with barbiturates in my system, so they had taken me from my mom. They didn't think I was going to live because I had seizures and stuff. And, I mean, my life is kind of tragic from the beginning. I can remember me being in McLaren Hall. I think I was about 4 years old at the time because I had been raped by one of my mother's friends, and they took me from her. And I remember being in this cage, and it was like being in a jail cell. And I remember me just crying for my mom, not understanding why I was taken away from her. And I never been around, a lot of white people at the time, and that's all I seen, so I just cried. I remember just crying because these faces was not familiar to me at all, and nobody could explain to me, what was going on. I ended up eventually going back with my mother, and unfortunately I was dragged through the drug houses and the different things that she went through. She took me everywhere with her, but she would leave my other siblings at home by themselves. I think she was afraid that, they would take me from her again. At 6 years old, my mother committed suicide. She was 22. And I was left in there laying on her body for hours. I mean, it was daytime, but by the time someone came, it was nighttime. And I remember them working on her and telling me they was going to take her to the hospital. She was going to be okay. But nobody never told me that she died. All I know is that I was bounced around from foster home to foster homes. And that was the last time I seen my brothers. Me and my sister was put in foster homes together. And today I wouldn't even know what my brother looked like. And hopefully, I hope he's watching this and see this. My sister since passed away. She had a lot of animosity towards me because my mother, like I said, kept me with her and kept my sister in that house. I remember no lights. I remember the house being dirty, by my mother being on drugs. I remember me taking care of her when she would OD. I knew what to do for her and stuff. I became the caretaker, her getting in physical confrontation with me, and I remember me fighting with her, I say about at 6 years old, my mother's brother and his wife adopted me and my sister. I still didn't know what happened to my mom. Still no one would tell me. But I thought it would be a good life to live with them. I didn't know I was going to be living with them, for the rest of my life. The material things we had, the houses and everything was okay, but behind that, it was abuse. I was beat with horse whoops, water hoses, sticks, at a very young age. My first whipping, my uncle literally knocked me out by stepping on my chest. That was the beginning, the first in the beginning of a long period of abuse, physical abuse. Excuse me.
Take your time.
during that time, like I said, the material things we had, but behind that, it was a lot of abuse. And then I started not only being beat because I couldn't say my alphabets right, or I couldn't ride a bike the way I was taught to. I was hit all the time. That's how I was taught. If I was told once or twice, this is an A or this is a B, and I didn't get it right, I would get slapped or knocked, that's how I was taught. So I became withdrawn, I started inflicting pain on myself. During that time, I constantly asked about my mom, but no one ever said anything. My cousins would always tell me, that's not your mom, that's my mom, and just do little things to, hurt me. At the time, my sister was there, and I used to tell her, come on, let's go. I used to want to tell my older sister, let's go, let's run away and go find our mom. But my sister said, no, we need to stay. I started running away at 7 years old, sleeping in parks because of the beatings. And nobody believed me. They would always take me back, and I would get beat again for, saying anything. From there, they started putting me in psychiatric hospitals. My first psychiatric hospital, I think I was 9 years old. I didn't know why I was in there. All I know is they took me there, and they started giving me shots of medicine or whatever. I didn't understand why I was there. I used to tell my aunt when she would come and see me that I wanted to get out of there because I didn't like what was happening to me. But I ended up staying, and at the period of time, I would go back to my aunt and uncle home. Nobody would help me. No teacher, law enforcement, because they looked at the outside. My uncle was a school teacher. He was well known. My aunt, she was a caterer. She was well known, and nobody would help me. I became that person that was lying, making up stories. And I just don't understand how a child that young can make up, stories like that. As I got older, I was put in girls' homes. There was a lot of prejudice in there because majority of the people that was in there was Hispanics or whites, and maybe 1 or 2 blacks in there. So that's when I first started experiencing racism. And I remember me being called niggas and stuff, and me lashing out, and I would be the one to get punished, and I couldn't understand why. We didn't have, I didn't have nobody to talk to. Even in there, when I lashed out or whatever, because of me being called nigga, they would put me in this room. It was called an isolation room, and they had just a bed and a punching bag. And I remember being in there for days and days and days. And when I would get out these girls' homes, I had so much anger. I just got worse. I would run away. Every chance I could get, I would run away. And I eventually get emancipated at 15, I think, not knowing how to read, not having no kind of financial support. Went to a children's court, and they said, you're on your own, and that was it. This downtown Los Angeles, not knowing what was going to happen to me. I ended up meeting this lady, and she took me in. And if it wasn't for her, I would have never made it to Job Corps. I ended up going to Job Corps, getting my GED, and getting my nursing certificate. That was the first thing I accomplished that I feel good about, in my life, because up until then, I hadn't done anything. I didn't know how. I was scared to. I didn't want to try because if I tried and didn't get it right, I would get beat. And that's where I started trying to find out who I was as a person. And I had a lot of good opportunities in Job Corps, but my history, the abuse and stuff, it would just come back, and I would like self-sabotage myself, not realizing it. When I had good things started happening in my life, I would sabotage them because I was so used to the bad things, to the good things didn't feel normal. So I see now that I caused a lot of problems on myself as I got older in my 20s and stuff. At 21, I had my first child. Yeah, I thought, dang, I had a baby now. I can love her like I wanted to be loved. And although I meant that, I was not able to because of my mental state. I started using drugs at 26 years old. And I fell into that hard because it was something that made me feel different than what I was feeling. I didn't that pain I didn't feel no more. It made me not care. And I struggled with that. I ended up getting, married, not even in love with the person I married. I did it for family's sake, trying to get them to love me and accept me. But eventually I ended up leaving because, again, my mental state, again, I had to go back out and medicate myself because that's the only way I could deal with me. Today, my struggle is not as hard. All the people in my past that reached out to help me that I didn't accept, I go back and I try to apply them things to my life today. It is not easy, but it's better than it was yesterday.
You have kids now?
Yes, my kids are grown and have their own kids now. Our relationships are not good at all. I'm hoping that if they do see this, there's some way they can see in their heart what happened to me and how come I wasn't able to be the mother that I wanted to be to them and that they deserve to have in their life. Because I know the problems that I had impact on their decisions in their life, and I hope that it stopped, somewhere, that pain will stop going from generation to generation.
How old are you now?
I'll be 59 Sunday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I never thought I would make it.
What was the darkest point of your life?
The darkest point of my life is, I got two. The day I laid on my mother's body, all them hours, and my kids, me giving parental rights to my aunt and an uncle because I couldn't take care of my kids.
And the drug was crack?
Yes.
How long did that last?
I've been struggling with it all the way up until still.
You still use?
Still today, off and on. Not so much, but still, it's still in my life,
How have you made money over the years?
When I had first started this, I did all kinds of things. I stole. I had even prostituted for a short time. I couldn't do that because that molestation thing. I've probably been in jail, killing people. I couldn't deal with that. But I ended up started cleaning up houses and stuff. And because I did such a good job, I started getting other people. And that's how I've been doing it, working with my family business, catering and stuff, I don't do the things on the streets like I used to anymore. I try to clean up houses or whatever, even if I have to recycle, whatever. But I don't turn to the prostitution and stealing and stuff. That's been out of my life for years, but it was part of my life,
Do you have anything you look forward to or hope for in your life?
Yes. I would like for me and my kids, for me to know that my kids love me and accept me, before I leave this earth.
Luwana, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
To never give up. No matter how dark it seems, don't give up.
All right, Luwana. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.